Final Fantasy VII is a mammoth game to review. Without playing through the entire game, I don't think I could actually do it proper justice. But being 4 hours into the game and not even close to finishing the first of the 3 discs, the time just doesn't exist for me to play much further. Even without the sheer size of the game, this is role playing on a grand scale. Just taking a moment to look at the map design is enough to prove this. While the play area of some maps is small, care has been taken to place each one in a larger context. The pre-rendered backgrounds are huge, lush and detailed, giving each map a definite sense of place and scale. It's easy to see why this game spent so long in development. Every screen is awash with detail and a joy to look at and traverse. Depicting Midgar and the world around it with so much attention means it's difficult to focus on the task in hand. I often find myself wandering off, just to see what amazing vistas I can uncover or secrets I can find. In my review of Breath of Fire 4, I mocked the graphics of Final Fantasy VII, and my opinion still stands. The character models, at least on the field maps, are distorted and ugly, and do a fairly bad job of depicting the characters. But the battle models and FMV sequences are a whole nother kettle of fish. Battles look fantastic. In contrast to the field map models, the characters and enemies are well animated and depicted. Magic and limit breaks feel suitably epic, and there's rarely a basic attack to be seen. Fights themselves use the ATB, or Active Time Battle system, that was first seen in Final Fantasy IV. Instead of waiting their turn, each combatant has a bar that fills up over time, and it can be sped up and slowed down in a number of ways. Once this bar has been filled, the character can take their action. The choices in combat are limited and simple to begin with, but as you gain materia your options open up, gaining spells that can target all enemies and various support and summon abilities. It is often your opponents that make combat interesting, requiring certain elements to be used, defeating their minions or waiting to attack at the right moment, while limit breaks add flavour and extra muscle when a character has been struck enough. Through battles you gain experience, gil, which is the game's currency, and item drops, but, with the exception of limit breaks, skills are gained with materia, not levels. Materia are small gems that can be bought and found throughout the game world. They slot into weapons and accessories and provide the equipped character with magic. This means, unlike most RPGs, that you don't have a dedicated healer or mage. As long as they have an empty slot, anyone can use any materia and they can be swapped in and out instantly. Materia also level up with use, changing the stats they improve and worsen on equip and providing more powerful magics. Finding and hunting for materia is a fun distraction, and I liken it to looking for Jin in another great RPG, Golden Sun. It shows that Square have put much thought into the battle system and drafted in a considerable amount of talent to visually create the world you play in. But this would all be for naught without a good story to pull it all together. Key to the story, characters are well developed throughout play, and thankfully, comic book hero stereotypes are avoided. Each character has a believable backstory, and every interaction is a product of their goals, motivations and emotions. Final Fantasy VII truly is an epic story, but it's told through and by the characters, as opposed to a grand story that just happens to be occurring around the characters. The story is helped along by its many epic set pieces, from destroying Mako reactors, the destruction of Sector 7, to the fast-paced motorcycle-based combat as you escape the Shinra. It's hard to talk too much about the story without spoiling it for those who haven't played it, but suffice to say it's as epic and varied as the place it's set in. Despite its length, Final Fantasy is rarely boring or repetitive. The locales you visit are distinct, each with their own atmosphere, and through exposition and visuals, the history and character of every location practically oozes out of your screen. The developers regularly change the register of the game, from serious to humorous to solemn, keeping it interesting, and it makes the story and protagonist more believable. Along with its set pieces, there are also the mini-games and level interactivity, which breaks up the otherwise monotonous cycle of run, random battle, level up, run, boss battle. The influence of Final Fantasy VII is hard to overstate, not just in its genre either. It did popularise Japanese role-playing in the West and forever changed the style and systems of RPGs. Almost every JRPG can be seen to be influenced by it. Aside from this, $45 million was spent over 4 years developing this title, which is a huge investment and one of the biggest developer investments at the time. And although visuals may have aged, Final Fantasy forever upped the bar on production values for RPGs and every game to follow it. If you are looking for the next big adventure, may I suggest you dye your hair blonde, style it with PVA glue, and join the nearest branch of Avalanche. This has been Westloar. Over and out.